Howdy y'all, I am Ice Gold, and today I'll be showing y'all the best fire damage setup that's free to play in Wiz. And just a fair warning, I am flat broke on crowns, so the damage value that you're going to see on my character tab is not going to be as great as it can be, because I am missing some jewel sockets, but I'll clear up what you need to get, so you can get there where I can't. So first things first, equip the narwhal. This is still the best quote-unquote free mount. Even though it comes from a bundle, you can fish this up in the Polarian Explorer's castle. And you can go there on like a housing tour and fish there. I know that there's always going to be one that is on like the first like 5 pages or something when you talk to Morella Windspar. So if you're looking to fish for this, preferably during zero energy fishing weekend, because this is a pain in the ass to farm. So just keep in mind. And with that mount on, pretend this is 262 because I am missing 3 10% damage jewels. But yeah, 262 damage is currently the absolute highest that you can get as a fire. And yeah, I mean, resistance is obviously going to be trash. Kind of just is what it is there. And then you have perfect accuracy, even with the 1 triangle socket, so it's all good there. And then decent crits, block is, you know, whatever. And then 33 pierce. Fire is the school that gets the most pierce out of any. And in Wallaroo, pierce doesn't matter as much, because for whatever reason, instead of making the mobs have higher resist, when we all asked for them to be harder, they just gave them more health. So their resist is still the same old, same old. For a lot of them, it's in the 20 to 30 range, and 33 is plenty to pierce through all of that. The bosses are going to be a little bit different, but it's not going to matter too much, I want to say, because there's some that have like 50 res, but you know, nothing one more blade can't solve, right, team? And then obviously, you know, perfect pips. P-serve is 53%, though this can go higher depending on the amulet that you use. So just keep in mind. Shads are 103. This is not really a reliable stat necessarily, but for my main questing deck, that is not my main questing deck, that is my raid deck setup, don't worry about it. But this is how that tends to look. I have a 1-round hit, I have a 2-round non-shad hit, and then I have a 2-round shad hit, just in case, because the shads that you get from this setup are pretty nice, and you honestly could use the Xibalba wand from the Crying Sky raid if you have it. I just haven't made it for fire because as a PvP player, it's not that great with like dual schooling and whatnot, but it will be once the Nightmare comes out. And the reason why I'm even making this video right now is because I've heard talks that the Nightmare is actually going to be delayed a good bit, so I figured I might as well just make this little series again in the interim. But yep, once the Nightmare drops, I will have more updated videos for y'all. So now that we have gone over the stats and whatnot, I will show y'all the gear. The hat is still Eon. You get this from the Eon of the Tavis boss in Novus, and that's a whole pain in the ass to farm. But I'm sure, you know, by this point, many of you already have this, but if you're still looking for the best hat to use at level 170, this is still the wave. The Xibalba hats also have not been upgraded to level 170, so both the Hunhao and Xibalba, we're still waiting on that, so they're not better, if in case you're wondering, and that goes for hat, robe, boots, and wand. So yeah, that is the hat. I just have a mending pin socketed for when I'm using Link for 8 more health every time I use it in the final fight, but you know, it's pretty decent. And then the robe, still nullity. You can get away with Mire 2, but your damage will go down to 259, which still really solid, but you also lose pierce and whatnot. So this is honestly just a good second place if you don't have the nullity robe. But if you don't have the nullity robe, I would recommend looking around to find a guild that still runs Voracious Void. There are more than you think, I'm sure, but if you can find one, this is the robe to get. It'll drop as a 150, and then you'll upgrade it to 160 using pixels and polygons, and I'm sure you'll get plenty of those while farming for this, this damn thing. And then for the boots, those are going to be Eon boots, yet again, just because, I mean, 8 pierce and 42 damage is massive, and it gives plenty of pips, good health, some accuracy as well, so these are staples. And then the wand is the Primordial Eon Sword, but if you want an alternative with shads and you're part of a guild that regularly runs Crown Sky Raid and wins, you can make the Xibalba Meteoric Sword. And as you can see, I have copies of the Ice, Storm, and Life ones here. They're all pretty damn good. I've just held off on making the Fire one because, as aforementioned, it's not great for Pave, so it's been low on my priority list, but it gives life damage and pierce instead of myth damage and critical. So, just something to keep in mind. I would recommend the Eon sword for right now. For the Athame, this is one of the places where I'm missing damage. Don't worry about it. It gives a total of 25 fire damage with, you know, the 15 universal and 10 for fire. Good health, plenty of pips, some block as well. If you wanted, I guess, outgoing healing, you could run the Xibalba Athame, but as you can see by the numerous Hunao Athames, those are not a priority for me. So yeah, it is pretty nice, and the square socket that you see there is where you can socket 600 more HP with a jewel, and yeah, you can get up to, I think, 10.1k health with just this alone. The ring will give you even more, so this is the Athame to get. This drops from the invading fleets in the Doom Moon in Novus, so I would recommend going there and farming this up. It is currently the only non-raid square socket Athame in the game, so not only does it give the most damage and rounds out your stats pretty nicely, but it's like kind of the only one that you'll want to get, so you can get some more health on you as well. And then obviously the 2 circle slots, you're going to want to socket the 10% fire damage ones. I have some, yeah, I have 1, 2. I have 2 of them, so if I did have a socket wrench, Crash didn't cooperate today, so it's probably going to be a constant for all of these videos. But basically, you could farm Freddy Croaker or craft these with Dream Water, and you just socket 2 on the Athame and 1 on the ring, and your damage will go from 232, which I have, to 262. So again, that is the max. For the amulet, you can use either the Dream Reaver or the Hunao amulet, but in my honest opinion, the Reaver amulet's Fireblade item card that gives a 40% blade is the better option just because of that. You know, it's like if you're trying to fight a boss and you just need the extra buff, go ahead and toss that in there. It's an extra 5% to your usual blade. Would recommend. So the Hunao amulet does give slightly more pip conversion and 2% more resist at the cost of some crit block, but it does not give that Fireblade, so I would recommend Reaver here, even over the Hunao one, if your guild is doing raids and whatnot. So Reaver is best in slot. Use the 10% fire damage jewels as aforementioned, and you will need at least an 11% accuracy ruby for the triangle slot. So anything from like Polaris onward, you'll be fine. So that will get you to max accuracy, so you can't fizzle shads. For the ring, Dream Reaver, and I should mention, speaking of Crash, this actually drops from Crash the Bandicoot, and you can get the side quest to go farm him from Lady Cortexia in Billabong Resort, so just go do that, and you can get to farming. And he does actually drop legendary soccer wrenches, I just didn't have any, as you can see. But yeah, for the ring, this drops from Freddy Croaker. It gives a total of 17 fire damage, pretty solid pips, pretty much. I've waxed poetic about how good the base stats are, but with this, it's basically just the Athame's sockets, but with 1 less circle jewel, so, you know, you throw on like a 155 HP, 10% damage, and a 595 square health, so there you go. That just rounds out the ring pretty nicely. For the pet, the free-to-play pet, it can be basically just any. I just use this Ornery Kookaburra because it gives a Fireblade pet card, so, you know, I could stack this with the Reaver Amulet card, and it's kind of nice. Don't even have to pack any others in main. You can technically get this, or these 5 talents, 6 technically, on a Frillosaur for free, but you will not be able to get the mount. You won't be able to get the Frillosaur mount for free for the set bonus. So this is where you lose a lot of damage. You lose about 6 damage, I want to say, for fire. So if you have the Frillosaur and the corresponding Bronto, you can go all the way to 268 damage, but I don't, which is why I'm making the free-to-play video. So Narwhal is the best mount there, which I already went over. You can fish this up at the Polarian Explorer Bundle House. For the deck, you can use either the Dream Reaver or the Hoonhau's Meteoric deck. I just don't have a second Hoonhau deck for 170 because I just use this one for Pave, and I just have the Pierce Jewel socketed in there. But for the Reaver deck, I have the, again, 10% fire damage, so that one's well worth getting. You can honestly take your pick here. Reaver is much more accessible. You can get that from Mr. Montgomery in the Doom Moon in Novus, so that's a hell of a farm, and honestly I would recommend doing that now while you can still kill him, because a 2-round farm is way better than the 5 rounds that you'll have to take after the Nightmare drops, so just keep that in mind. But if you have the Hoonhau deck, I would recommend the Hoonhau deck over the Reaver deck because it gives 7 more Arch Mastery. So, you know, it's like if you're struggling to get life pips or whatever because somebody is just Arch Mastery diffing you, this can be kind of a way to fight back. I don't know. That whole mechanic is just stupid, and I don't know why they're still against taking it out of the game, but for now, Hoonhau's Meteoric deck is my personal pick, but the Reaver deck works just as well. You won't be using either of the 2 item cards, although the Hoonhau deck does give a max tier Infernal Salamander, and if you don't want to do any Meat Moon, and for some reason you want to use this in PvE, go for it. But you gotta beat Hoonhau first. Or, well, no, you do have to beat Hoonhau. I was gonna say, Yatasha will drop you the deck, but you do have to beat Hoonhau to upgrade it, so just to keep in mind. So that is going to wrap up the best possible damage setup for PvE for Fire. Obviously, you can get close to 11,000 health with a square socket on both your Athame and Ring. That'll get you an extra 1,200, and then plus the 155s will be another 300. I just didn't have socket wrenches, so do your own thing with that. But yeah, 262 damage, very, very solid, and would recommend. Although, quick disclaimer that I should go over. The damage cap is currently, like, not where it's supposed to be. It's set to, I think, 25,500, when in reality it's supposed to be 255 for the hard cap. So, I guess you make this setup at your own risk. So, because, like, once the Nightmare drops, I guarantee you they're going to fix that. So once they do, the max damage will definitely go down by quite a bit. But for now, 262, that is your max, without a Frillosaur combo. So, yep, and then 33 Pierce, again, decent. It's good enough for Wallaroo, so that's going to wrap up. Thank y'all for watching. I've been Ice Gold. Be sure to like, subscribe, and leave like 50 comments for the algorithm. Be sure to join my Discord down in the description if you want to chat with me some more, and I will see y'all later.